Hello, my friends. Might as well get started. Just finished a nice hour of standing and meditation. Hopefully you're perhaps joining us after that as well, so you're especially free and loose. But if you're joining us just for this particular series, allow me to remind you of some of the things that I like to do just before a class of easing and releasing the shoulders. And that is to use some kind of liniment, cream, oil that has an herbal mixture in it designed to increase circulation, warm the tissues, to help loosen things a little bit, to ease any aches or pains, to make it easier to soften the area. And so it might be nice to put a little bit of this on. You can take your time with that, just to make it a little bit easier to practice. As well as, if you notice that warmth helps this area in particular become softer for you, then perhaps warm a bean bag up in the microwave or something, or a hot water bottle, and place that on this area before or during practice, because they have many that will just stick to the area. And this will make it much easier as we circulate through to help soften and open things up. Another nice tool that you might think about getting is some kind of therapeutic massage cane. These things are fantastically handy. And so if you have tension in your upper back or your shoulders, your traps, you can work in through here. And so one of the things that I would like to do, in fact, is to begin with some self-massage in these areas. And so maybe I'll just use this cane today as a way to begin. And if you have an object, you should use that. And if you have your fingers, you should use those to help soften any spaces up in here that might be tight or uncomfortable or tend to be resistant toward letting go. And please do be careful not to over-treat yourself, to over-massage or overwork and manipulate the tissues, because they can become sore and they'll respond to that kind of trauma with greater tension later. And of course, that is not particularly helpful. So I'm just relieving this area here. Feels nice. You could use it on the top. You could use it on the backs of your shoulders if that's useful for you. On the other side, there is no set series that you should do to help relieve tension in this area. But as you practice, you'll find the places that tend to be most problematic for you, or that are letting you know. Right now, for some reason, I have a sore spot back here, which is unusual for me. But it's nice to have found it. Now I can give it a little extra attention as I practice. Stay there. Okay, I'll put this over there. And so similarly, you can soften the front of your chest. This is the front of your shoulder. Easing these areas open. Gentle and relaxed. Going to close something here that's opening for some reason. There we go. Excellent. As well, if you have a friend who is able to practice with you, I highly recommend getting them to work on your upper back as well. It's often just a nicer way to practice. Maybe if I make this smaller here. Gosh, technical difficulties. There we go. Much better. So you can have a friend patting on your back, working on your shoulders, and they turn around and you do the same work. It's really quite a fun way to engage with your practice partners, to get a little bit of loving touch, which is always healing anyway. Now let's begin, as usual, with just a few moments of basic standing position, allowing all of this to be easy and open, to feel free and comfortable. You want your arms, again, to fall open so that they tend to release to the sides of the legs here, rather than rolling forward or being pulled back. I highly recommend, if you'd like to, and you have the time, following along with the standing and seated meditation posture series, which I'm doing just before this class, because it is a wonderful way to continue to open the body and to help your tissues lengthen and soften in preparation for a class like this. Tend to get much more out of it. Releasing your neck, allowing your head to soften upward, to fall upward, softening your shoulders so that your elbows hang down to your wrists, to your hands, continuously softening. Your chest sinks because you no longer hold it up. You simply allow it to empty and to fall. Your upper back is also easy and open, the shoulder blades sliding down your back. Softening your belly, allowing breath to naturally move through your torso. Releasing your back, softening your hips and your glutes, allowing your tailbone to fall down toward the earth. As your hips sit just a few centimeters, it doesn't have to be much, enough to unlock the hips, unlock the knees. You'll notice that by sitting as though there's a tall chair behind you, you're about to sit down, that unlocks your hips, that unlocks your knees, your ankles. You don't have to try to bend your knees. That's not a good way to get into the posture. Simply soften your back, your hips, your knees, your feet. Allow your toes to dangle off the ends of your feet, completely soft. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and circle around the navel. Hands making comfortable circles, spiraling larger and larger across the abdomen. Allowing your awareness to sink just beneath the hands. Feeling into the belly, softening there, making space for the breath and movement that occurs. Hands are very soft as well. Both directions, spiraling back inward. Begin lengthening the side of your neck, softening the opposite shoulder down, lengthening the other side of your neck. Avoid trying to crimp your neck and pull it to your shoulder. Instead, just emphasize opening on one side, opening on the other, making space in your cervical vertebra. Don't compress anything or kink anything. And on the opposite side, that shoulder is lengthening downward to help this soften even further. If you'd like, you can look in the direction of your movement, moving your eyes a bit. Don't strain your eyes, but we tend to not move our eyes very often, so this can be a nice way to practice that. And then, again, softening. Left and right, yin and yang, balancing. Allow this weight to flow down through your leg into the ground on one side, so that one side becomes light and free. The other is stable and grounded. And then that weight moves through to fill the other leg. This whole side sinks down, lengthens, one whole side light. In other words, one side yin, one side yang. Emphasizing this lengthening of the arm as though the arm is made out of warm taffy, and as you release it, it lengthens by softening, not because you push it down. If you push it down, you only get in the way of your own softening. One side and then the other, releasing your arms. And then, I'll turn around so it's easier to see. With your hands on your lower back, either with your palms facing you or with your backs of the hands against your body, whichever is more comfortable for your shoulders. Allow your hands to move gently up and down the body, massaging the lower back, massaging the rear of the leg, but emphasizing, just like with the left and right yin and yang movement that we were doing, this sense of weightedness pouring into the ground, the arm lengthening. And just like with the neck movement we were doing, this sense of an opening through the neck and through this shoulder. Make sure that even though this shoulder seems like it's lifting, the shoulder blade itself continues softening down the back. Coming back to center. Closing. Hands lifting. Your elbows moving away from your shoulders, so there's a lengthening occurring, spreading across from the spine. Continue that lengthening outward. Even when your hands come in, your elbows continue to move away from you. And then you sink down. Softening your chest, your solar plexus, your abdomen, your lower back. And allow your awareness to sink again into that space between the navel and the spine. The middle dantian for this set. Just a few breaths of meditation, allowing your awareness to soak into this space. And then when you're ready, let's try some comfortable circles through the hips. In yesterday's class, the first class, I broke it down into 2 separate movements beforehand. So this time, let's just start with this simple circling of the pelvis. Remember that most all of these movements have their own separate video on my channel, so you can go check over there to learn in greater detail about each of them if you need to. Both directions. Comfortably softening your pelvis, your hips, your lower back. And then when you're ready, larger circles through the hips, full circles around the perimeter of your feet, your head and neck staying in pretty much the same spot. Allowing your breath to be natural, uninhibited, effortless. Both directions. And then coming back to center, feet a little closer if it's comfortable for your sense of balance. And begin rolling your upper spine and your neck. Remember not to isolate the movement in just your neck, but allow a little bit of movement through your thoracic spine as well. Comfortable, gentle circles. I'm making them larger so that they're easier to see on camera, but they can be as small as a coin, just a tiny circle, if that is more comfortable for you. Slowly larger and larger circles, but never to the point of feeling pressure or tension or discomfort. And then again, starting small, changing direction. Softening your neck. As usual for any of our Qigong practices, we emphasize the side of the movement that is opening rather than closing. So as my chin sinks, I emphasize opening the back of the neck, not pulling down and closing my throat. I continue to lengthen my spine. The vertebra in my neck, my cervical vertebra, are continuing to decompress throughout the movement. And then when you're ready, looking down between the feet, as though you're gazing down into the earth. Softening the base of your neck, softening the middle of your neck, and then the top of your neck near the skull. Lengthening the back of your neck. And then gently, we begin looking up and down. As usual, emphasizing the opening and lengthening quality. Do not try to compress your neck or your throat. And then when you're finished, again closing, softening your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, your neck, your upper spine, your chest sinks, your ribs, your mid-back, your belly, your lower back, your whole abdomen, your hips. Everything softens down. We're not hanging on to anything in the upper body. And then we allow everything to settle, especially our awareness, into this space, this middle dantian, the elixir field. And then, continuing to soften, don't grip onto anything. We're going to begin rolling the shoulders. So from the side, I'm going to step one foot in front. This lead leg and the front shoulder over it are going to remain relatively stable in space. And the rear shoulder, I'm going to roll in circles. It doesn't really matter which direction you begin. But you'll notice that this side remains relatively stable in space. It's not moving this way. So that this rear side can close toward it. You see how they're getting closer together? And can open away from it. They move away from each other. Using movement through my torso. Creating a different kind of movement through the body. Comfortably so. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat box and I'll answer them when I can. Softening your shoulders. One direction and then the other. As usual, emphasizing the side of the movement that is letting go. So for instance, my arm moves down, but it's not because I pull my arm down, but rather because I let go of that which is holding it up. So it falls around the circle. Letting go. So if this movement is new to you, emphasize this letting go quality. Get really good at creating movement through letting go, through daunting, as my instructor likes to say. Then we change sides, change which foot is in front, which arm is stable, which one is moving. Continue around the circle, letting go. If you're able to comfortably let go from the top so that it falls, perhaps you can also allow it to move forward by letting go of the back of the shoulder. So I'm letting go of the top, and I let go of the back of the shoulder, and it moves forward. To get my shoulder to move back, I release the front of my shoulder. Creating movement by release, making space, changing directions. Letting go all the way around the shoulders. And then the same movement, both sides at once. Letting go. both directions. If there's one direction in particular that feels like it needs a bit more attention, you can always do extra movements in that direction or on that side, as long as you're not aggravating it. Similarly, if one side is more sensitive and really needs more rest than the other, maybe there's been an injury, please just do it on the side that is safer and give the side that needs a rest more time to heal. Don't aggravate things, just be gentle. Diagonal movements, one side doing the opposite of the other, and including a little bit of that left and right yin and yang movement we were practicing, where we fall through one side and then we fall through the other. Letting go, releasing your arms. Your shoulders hang. Your arms as though they're growing longer as they soften. Both directions. Keeping the center of the body relatively still so that you're not turning your whole body too much. The neck continues to release. Wonderful. Let's do one more that combine these last few movements we've done. If I was to soften my neck around the circle this way, and then begin to allow my shoulders to roll in the same way. My palms turning forward, my palms turning back because my shoulders are opening and closing. And then the rest of my spine and my hips, my knees, my feet take part. Waves of movement, softening the front of my spine, softening the back of my spine. One more big movement. And then smaller and smaller. And then again closing. Make sure that you're not hanging on to any tension in the upper body. Letting everything feel soft and comfortable and easy. And then when you're ready, let's go ahead and begin to look left and right, but not directly left and right, but rather we trace a path over the shoulder in an arc as though we're going to look down at the ground behind us without having to turn that far. Up a bit, over the shoulder, and down, and then returning to the center. And as we do that movement, this space in the front of the chest and the front of the shoulder opens, so this palm turns forward. Both palms can turn forward. But the space that we're turning away from is this front of the shoulder. So allow that to remain facing forward as you look back and down. Lifting your chin slightly up, back, and down. And then letting go, falling back to the center. Softening the front of the shoulder. Releasing the neck. Being gentle. Don't press into the corners or the angles of your neck. One more on either side. And now we do the same kind of movement, looking down and up, as though gazing toward the mountains behind us, down and up. So there's this comfortable change of direction. If you go too fast with this movement, with any of the movements, your body will hang on to protect itself. It won't allow things to open because it'll try to control the momentum and the inertia against the joints. So you have to go slowly enough so that the body feels safe in opening and releasing that long-held tension. So it's not just about being gentle and kind, but it's also pragmatic. It's more effective if you go at the right pacing so that your body is more likely to soften open and release those knots that it's been hanging onto. So then, let's allow the hands to come back to the back of the head. We were working on this yesterday as well. You're going to lengthen in two directions. You're going to lengthen vertically. You're going to allow your head to press gently into your hands as it lengthens the spine. And then you're going to allow your elbows to come back, pushing your hands gently into your head, but lengthening away, not pulling back. People can do this incorrectly by pulling their head back and pulling their shoulders back, and you just make everything worse. Instead, you want all of this to spread open vertically and horizontally. Elbows moving away from the spine, lengthening vertically, lengthening horizontally, lengthening vertically, lengthening horizontally. We'll just do this 3 times for now because I don't want people to develop stiff neck. Later we'll do more. And then we release the arms, palms forward, sinking down alongside the body, effortless, comfortable, letting go. Soften your arms for a moment. I know this can be uncomfortable for people in the beginning, so we want to go slowly. Feel free to do more if this is easy for you or you have a history of doing these movements. And then again, hands resting against the back of the head, elbows continually lengthening away from the spine. And I'm going to use my hands to push against the back of my head. And I'm going to use my left hand to push against the back of my head, turning my head to the left. My right hand pushes against the back of my head to turn my head to the right. One side then the other. Just creating comfortable movement through the neck. And then pressing up above the head, palms facing upward, lengthening your spine, hands turn palm down, sitting on top of the head. Gently, the arms rest so that the hands gently push into the top of the head. You don't have to try to pull down, just let the weight of your arms be enough to rest on the top of your head and allow the crown of your head to lengthen upward against it. And then again, palms pushing up, the whole spine lengthens. Palms gently rest on the top of the head, allow the spine to lengthen against the hands, pushing up in that through vertical direction. One more time. And then again, pushing up and allowing the hands to fall to the sides, palms forward. Shoulders release down the back, elbows soften to the sides and soften the forearms. Hands again resting against the sides of the body so that the tips of the middle fingers are more or less along the side seam of your pants if you have them. And like we worked on yesterday, this funny side-to-side movement that, depending on your culture that you grew up in, might feel easy or more difficult. Allow your head to move from side to side, keeping your face vertical. Don't allow your head to turn this way or this way. Simply allow this side-to-side movement, softening deep under the tissues that you're releasing away from. This used to feel impossible to me too, and very slowly, my body softened enough to allow it. Wonderful. And then the wind shaking the willow as though you're shaking your hands and your arms, but we do it with our neck and our spine. So you start at the top, work your way down your body to your feet and your hands, as though someone was to grab you from the head very gently and shake you out of it. I think it feels wonderfully relieving of any tension that may have been getting developed as we practice. And then closing. Notice the difference in your shoulders as you soften now. Things are getting more and more open, so the shape of this movement might change. And your awareness once again sinks into that space between the navel and the spine. Your awareness resting, becoming quiet, meditating for just the space of a few breaths, allowing your mind to become still. And then when you're ready, this is a very helpful movement, very informative to the next practices that we'll do. You're going to let your hand turn so that the little finger touches your body, all the way up as though leading with your fingertips. And then as it moves in front of your face, very gently allow the palm to turn up, your shoulder to open, the shoulder blade to sink down your back. Make sure this stays soft, as though the back of your hand is resting on the top of your head. It's okay if it's too tight to actually do that. That's just the direction of the movement that you're trying to create. And at the same time, the lower hand rests in front of the body and pushes down. So the hands are moving in opposite directions for each other. Crown of the head floating up, tailbone sinking down. Release the lower hand. The upper hand turns palm down. And you soften through your body, your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, your chest, your waist, your hips, your knees, your feet, melting down. And then again. The other side, little finger turns in. Gently pushing up and down, lengthening away from each other. Lower hand releases, palms turn down, sink through the body, letting go of any tension. We'll just do this a few times on either side. It's just a nice way to understand what's going on in the later practices. Softening through the body to your feet. Don't skip that moment. Let everything go. One more time on either side. Letting go. Softening down. So then combining the shape of that movement with some of the neck releases that we've been doing, we will try the black snake twisting around the tree. Fantastic practice. Placing one hand on your lower back, supporting your lower back. Make sure that your arm is in a position so that your shoulder can release. Don't let your hips come forward or your back arch. Allow your shoulder blade to sink down into this new open position. Continue to lengthen your arm away from your body, around the circle. Again, to the back of your head, just like we were practicing. Gently use the hand to turn the head to the side, looking behind you. Opening the front of your body to look up and back. Rounding your lower back slightly to look down and back. And then releasing your lower hand. One hand softens up. Release down through your body. Softening your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, upper spine, lower spine, hips, knees, feet. And then we do the same thing on the other side of the body. I hope you can begin to see these similarities of the practices. Softening through your body. If you'd like to, and it's comfortable for your shoulder and your neck, you can reach across your head to grasp the opposite ear and tug on that to turn your head. But please be comfortable. Move in a way that works for your body today. Things always change over time. Softening through your body before starting the next one. And I'll turn around to face you. Continue with whatever the next side is for you. Closing when you're finished. Awareness resting deep inside. noticing the changes that have been made. If you consciously notice how your body is opening, then it's far more likely to maintain those qualities over time. And now, letting your hands come up in front of you. You're like you're bouncing a ball in front of you. You let your hands fall down and then to the sides. And back up. Downward direction to the sides. Up. Downward, not back. And then they fall. Your chest lifting and sinking slightly. Your lower back staying soft. Your hips releasing with the movement. Feels nice. Those swinging movements in various directions always work so well for my body. I love them. So the next, I'm going to put one foot in front, and then I'm going to let my hands cross in front of my body, opening my elbows just a little bit higher than my shoulders, if that's okay for your body. And then I soften my shoulder blades down my back. I'm not dropping my arms. I'm just letting my shoulders sink. And then I come back forward, cross my hands, let go. Just like that last movement we were doing. You want to make sure that your elbows don't come behind your body. Your elbows stay in front of your body, front of the midline of your body. Don't lean back. Don't arch your back. This is just an opportunity for your shoulder blades to sink. Weight pours forward, weight pours back. And then we do the same thing with the other foot. One more time. Soften your shoulder blades, letting them go. And then, if I was to turn this part of my hand, tiger's mouth position, against my belly, and I lift that up so that my shoulder sinks, but my elbow comes high, as capable as you are of that. And then lead with the fingers downward. The palm slowly turns forward in front, and then comes back up and sinks down. Chest gently lifting and sinking. Emphasize, of course, for this series, releasing your neck, your shoulders. Same thing on the opposite side. relaxing a bit. And then as though we are opening our chest, opening our upper back, as though we're embracing a tree, making a nice circular shape, letting the upper back spread open. And then we'll do the same. Without closing the back, we allow the upper chest here, the upper space along the shoulders to open. Do not pull your elbows behind your back. Instead, lengthen outward with your palms as your palms move away from each other. Your elbows are high, and then allow your elbows to sink, your shoulder blades drop down your back, palms turn forward. And for the sake of this session, release all the way down, letting go of your arms, again, into this comfortable position. Once you're comfortable, once again, embracing the tree, opening. Let your elbows come high enough so that you are more easily able to drape your shoulder blades down your back like a cape, draping down your back. Push your palms forward. Let your palms move away from each other, lengthening that space between the hands, opening horizontally across the shoulders and the shoulder blade, letting all of this open and lengthen away. One more time, pushing forward and out, hands move away from each other, softening, shoulder blades sink down, palms turn forward, releasing. Letting go. Allow your arms to hang for a moment. And then we'll try a mixture of the last few movements. As usual, each of these is a component in the larger snake and turtle movement coming. So this next one is white snake sticking out its tongue. And we're going to let one hand float up. The other hand, tiger's mouth turns against the body, coming up. Remember to make the shoulder blades sink down the back as your hands come up. And then relax down, just like before in the other practices. Up and down. Up and down. Your chest gently lifting and sinking. Your shoulders quiet. Shoulder blades releasing down your back as your hands come up. What you don't want is for your shoulders to do this and to pull up as your hands lift. Instead, they do the opposite. They sink down as your hands lift. And then, of course, as your hands drop, they sink down even more. So this continuous release of your shoulders, which become very quiet. Closing. Everything settles. Let everything fall through your body. Don't hold anything up. Your mind becomes quiet, centered in your body. When you're ready, your hands more or less in front of your chest here. You can begin to allow your elbows to circle. Of course, as your elbows lift, your shoulder blades sink down your back. Do not let this happen. Don't let your back arch. This part of your back stays open. Your hips stay soft, your glutes are relaxed. Your chest rising and sinking naturally as your shoulders release. Crown of your head continuously softening upward. Both directions. Your elbows moving away from the spine. Don't pull them back behind you. Let them go outward. If I was to tug on your elbow, pulling it away from your shoulder, that's the direction they go. Not backward, out. And that's the case for most of these movements where you might be thinking of drawing your elbows back when they're really going out. Wonderful. Letting go. One hand, the back of the hand, sliding down the side of your body, releasing at the bottom. Let it fall lengthwise that way so that your shoulder is disinhibiting in this direction, outward. And then again, gently massaging the side of your body. And now we're going to do the same on the other side. Hand, back of the hand, sliding down, massaging open the side of the body. Emphasizing a release lengthwise here, as well as here during this otherwise difficult moment. Keep your shoulder blades soft, and just keep your arm quiet as your hand softens down, leading with your hand. If I tried to lead with my elbows, I would start to run into myself. But if I let my elbow move away as my hand sinks down, then it's very easy. Settling everything through your body. Don't hang on to anything in your neck or your shoulders, your chest, your waist. Don't control your breath. Simply allow your awareness to settle into your body as though your mind has a kind of weight to it. And as your awareness relaxes into your tissues, it sinks into your body. All of the tissues in your body hang like loose clothing. They just soften around your body, releasing, making space in the middle of your body, as though your joints open. That spaciousness itself is enough to hold you up. Lengthening the crown of your head upward, opening your spine, and making it even safer, again, for the soft tissues to release even further. So let's try the golden snake movement. I'll use my left hand here. Feel free to mirror me with your right until you learn this movement a bit more thoroughly. Again, remember that all of these are taught on the channel. I have separate videos for all of this stuff. Softening around. Across the body. around, leading with the hand. Turning your waist. Do not twist your knees. Don't hold your breath. Stay soft. One side then the other. So again, in the beginning, I have my hand out to this side as though I'm holding my cup of tea in the comfortable position. And then I'm going to continue around my body, and I'm going to return to that spot, holding the cup of tea, but this time in the uncomfortable, twisted position. And then I will circle around my body, returning to that position, holding the tea in the comfortable position. And then again, circle around my body to my lower back, returning to that spot, holding the tea in the uncomfortable position. Continue around. Comfortable position. Changing sides. Opening. Closing. Opening. Lead with your hand. Closing. This becomes the stable side. So I close toward that side. I open away from it. I close toward it rather than turning my body away. I open away from it, letting my shoulders separate, softening. Continuing to breathe naturally. I heard at least one of you holding your breath. Closing when you're done. Let's try the flower hiding under the leaf. Both palms turn up, both palms turn down. And when I talk about the palms, this is just a way of talking about the shape of the shoulders and the chest and the rest of your body. So your shoulder blades soften, turn your waist. Both directions. One hand slips beneath the other. Face this direction. Opening away. Similarly with the last movement, where we have one side that's relatively stable, the other side closing toward that and opening away. One more time. And then taking your time. Palms turning gently forward, palms turning toward the body, which again, isn't talking about moving the hands. We're talking about the shape of the body, the shoulders moving. The hips are soft. Make sure that they're not creeping forward, but remain as though sitting on a high chair. And then we circle over the top, softening down. Again, opening the sky, closing the earth. And then the opposite version of that. The hands draw up the side, palms forward, palms down, elbows drawing toward the center a bit. And then we soften the shoulders down the back, let your elbows sink, palms turned forward, down the midline. And we let go. Do not let your elbows draw your shoulders forward. Closing the sky, opening the earth. Remember to continuously release your neck so that your head seems to float upward. Letting go. Again, closing. Letting your elbows move away from your shoulders. Softening your shoulder blades down your back. It's very easy to do closing with letting your shoulders come forward. Instead, the shoulders continue to drape down your back, down the outside of your body. And then we are to make an inward neck circle so that, like a stag scraping its antlers or a turtle coming out of its shell, the chin sinks down close to the body, moves forward, moves up, and then comes in and again down. And you'll notice again through my voice that I'm not compressing my throat as I come across. So don't pull in and tighten your throat. This is a continual lengthening of your spine, just through a different shape. Continually releasing your cervical spine, continually softening your shoulders. If I was to let this turn into a wave that traveled down my body, so that there'd be this softening wave that went down. And now we'll combine that with this next movement where we allow the hips to travel back. Let your hips sink back behind you, your spine staying straight, lengthening through your neck. And then at the bottom, let your tailbone soften down, your head soften down, lengthening the back of your spine. And then leading with your chin, And through your feet, lifting up as though someone's picking you up by your nose, opening the front of your body, and then softening down. If you start to feel a bit lightheaded, maybe because your blood pressure is not enjoying the up and down, then please pause for a moment until you feel safe and regular, and then continue. Again, it's not about leaning forward, it's about letting your hips travel back, lengthening your spine, and then softening, and then leading with your nose. Opening the front of your body, and go. Only bending your hips and knees as far as feels comfortable. Remember that you're not compressing, you're not trying to strain your body. This is all about softening and lengthening open. So do what you need to do to be safe in this moment, especially if, for instance, you are pregnant or you're dealing with some kind of embolism or difficulty in your belly, in your neck, or in your head. You want to be very delicate with these movements. Don't overdo them. Just enough to engage the spine, not enough to cause yourself problems, please. Closing when you're done. And then when you're ready, only a few more movements left. Step back a bit so you can see my hands. Lengthening upward, softening outward through your hands, continually lengthening your arms so that this horizontal aspect of your upper spine is opened. Pressure is taken away from the base of your neck. Pressing your palms up, lengthening the crown of the head up, tailbone sinks down. Softening your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders. So all of this is nice and relaxed. And then sinking down. The palms simply dropping all of the pressure and the tension through your body, draining from your hips, through your legs, through your feet into the ground. Again, softening your elbows, your shoulders, your wrists, and then as though picking up the earth, pulling veggies in the garden, lifting up, opening your lower back, softening forward, letting go. Lengthening your spine, softening your arms and your shoulders, and then you release your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, your upper spine and your chest, your belly and your lower back. Softening your hips, your thighs, your knees, your lower legs, your feet. And then gathering as though the earth washes up into those empty spaces in your body. Flows up, filling and warming your lower back, and then forward and down. Lead with the crown of your head on the way up. Softening through your body. Leading with the tip of your tailbone on the way down. Allowing your awareness to at least touch your lower back for a moment. Softening down through your body, a wave of relaxation into the earth, as though you allow the tension to drain from your body at least a meter below your feet. Let's do a few more. You can also try a variation where your palms push up, you look up gently into the space between your hands, allowing the front of your body to lengthen open a little bit more. And then gathering down, softening through your body. One more. Closing. allowing your hips to remain facing forward. Just like in that earlier practice we did, the left and the right, yin and yang movement. The weight fills one side, the other side becomes light and free. Softening your shoulders. If you have pain in your hands, of course, you don't need to tap your body in this way. I know some days for many people, arthritic pain can be intense, and pounding them against your body might be uncomfortable. So please just skip this part if that's you. Again, allowing your arms to hang. Softening your neck, releasing your head upward, relaxing your jaw, space around your eyes. Release the front, the back, the top, the bottom of your shoulders, allowing your elbows to hang open. After the last almost 90 minutes, your shoulders should be feeling much more warm and connected and filled with life. If you'd like, you can gently pat around the area of the neck and the shoulders. Not enough to disperse. This is a patting that is designed to encourage fullness through the channels. It's more like you're drawing chi to the surface rather than trying to pound and soften them. Different practice. Being extra gentle here. You might notice that your shoulders and hands feel quite different after that practice. Get your hands nice and warm. Warming the eyes. Drawing off to the sides. Softening the face. Around the eyes, the ears. Keep your legs soft as you move down, simply helping circulation move through the legs, especially if you've done the last 2.5 hours with me. Make sure everything is soft and open. Up the outside, down the inside. Let's try a little bit of shaking movement. Lifting your heels, bending your knees. First, large, slow movements, encouraging freedom through the joints. And then medium speed and size, shaking your glutes, shaking the thighs a bit, getting movement through the larger muscles, just enough to shake things open. If you go too fast or too slow, it won't work. And then pick up the speed a bit. That shakes at a different layer and different level. Don't go so fast that it causes tension. Just move in a way that helps things relax. You can open and close a little bit through your knees. You can shake your hips. Nice and big movements at first. Medium size. Just big enough to shake your belly, shake your hips, and then fast enough to soften things open. Using that same shaking movement to shake your shoulders. The hands. And then, of course, the whole body. All of that warmth, fresh chi and awareness, nourishing the center. Feel the warmth of your hands soaking in. Let your awareness soak in as well, as deep into your body as you're able to. Thank you very much. Enjoy your practice.